Uh, my name is Harvey Starter. I'm a little local comedian out in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been doing comedy. In November will be about 4 years now, and I've had a blast doing it. It's been fun. I will keep doing it as long as I can. I know it's kind of difficult right now with the whole world shut down. But as a comedian, I always have the same discussion with a lot of comedians, especially comedians who deal in a lot of like edgier stuff or comedians who kind of lean more politically right. I find a lot of people make the same argument that PC culture, cancer culture, sensitivity to a lot of things these days, a lot of social changes we're seeing are ruining comedy. I hear that argument a lot, but you know what? Honestly, I'm going to say I don't feel that's true. I know it feels like it sometimes. I know we're seeing a lot more blowback against like performers, entertainers. They say something bad or against a lot of new progressive norms in like a tweet or an interview or in a stand-up set or anything. And they get upset like, how come people are so sensitive now? How come people are so offended by everything these days? I feel like I have bad news for you guys. People were always offended. Yeah, you told an off-color joke, you said something derogatory as part of a punchline. Uh, People got offended. People got offended probably since we started creating art back in like caveman days. Someone drew like a stick figure of someone having sex with another stick figure, and someone's like, "Oh, that's offensive to me." But I feel like until recently, a lot of people were afraid to come out. A lot of people were afraid to like speak their mind, go against the norm because they didn't want to be ostracized. They didn't want to be harassed, which is something we still see nowadays. I mean, help you if you're a woman or or gay or lesbian or anything outside of a straight white dude. You say something offensive, a bunch of neckbeards on the internet are going to come at you. But I feel like now that there's so many more platforms, people can have more of a voice. They don't have to rely on traditional channels. They have all kinds of outlets for their art. I feel like people are less afraid to tell you that you offended them. I think for a lot of entertainers, a lot of people, they're having their difficulty wrapping their minds around that. This is something they grew up with. This is the kind of culture they grew up in. Like telling these kind of jokes, making this kind of art, consuming this kind of content. And now suddenly they realize, oh hey, some people find it offensive, and they just don't know how to deal with it. I feel like, how do I want to put this? I feel like a lot of these people feel like since they live in America and they have freedom of speech, which is a great freedom, fine, they mistake the ability to say whatever they want means that they should be free of consequence. Like, a lot of the same argument. People like say something that get banned from like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. News channel will drop them. A TV show will drop them, and they feel like they're being oppressed. I have to point out that freedom of speech just means that the government generally can't come after you. I know there's some exceptions, like Lander Sliber yelling fire in a movie theater. But as a general rule, the government technically can't. But it doesn't mean that private people, like myself, like a corporation, doesn't mean that they can't be like, nope, want nothing to do with you. Like, I don't want to listen to you. Freedom of speech also gives us, a lot of us, the right to not listen to you, if that makes sense. And that drives them crazy. They think my opinion matters and I should be able to broadcast it. I'm like, your opinion matters to you. Your opinion might matter to some other people. I'm sure my opinion on some things matters to some people, and my opinion on a lot of other stuff, they think I'm an idiot, which you're probably right. I feel like the general consensus, though, is people don't like to be told that their opinions don't matter to some people. And I get that. But now that we're dealing with that as the new reality of stuff, I feel like it's just causing like a weird sudden gear shift in people's brains. And some people don't want to change. I get that. I don't like change a lot. It's like, I'll try new stuff, but as a general, I like my routine. I like my day-to-day stuff, and anything that upsets it, you know. But going to the topic of if PC culture is killing comedy, I actually think that this new thing, this new world, is actually helping comedy. Let me explain. I feel like some people realizing that, you know, the old stuff like jokes, material, you know, whatever, is offending people. Some of them are going to rise to the challenge and be like, okay, well, what avenue can I go down? All right. Can I make something different? Can I change my style? Can I change this? Can I change that? See what reaction I get from that, and try something new, which is great. We're seeing all kinds of new stuff. Some of it non-offensive, some of it still offensive, but not in the same way that it was, if that makes sense. It's still delicate subjects, but they're not presented as just derogatory. It's kind of hard to describe what I mean by that, but generally speaking, I feel like this is just giving us brand new entertainment. We're seeing stuff we never would have seen before. I mean, think in the last probably 10 to 12 years, or with like the internet, YouTube, social media, we've probably seen all kinds of artists. We're probably seeing like, you know, a lot more black artists, Asian, gay, straight, lesbian, trans. We're seeing all these new people actually having to have a voice now and their own view of the world, and they're making art with that, and it's fantastic. It's like there's a new viewpoint we didn't understand, and it's like, oh wow, okay, so there's a whole new world to work with here, and it's great. And for all the people who don't want to change, they're like, oh, I can't do my jokes anymore, or I can't do this, or I can't say that, I can't be like that. Listen, you still can. I'm not saying you can't. If you wanna get on stage and you want to spend like 5 minutes making jokes about how women belong in the kitchen, or if you're a white dude and you just want to drop 1 billion N-bombs on stage, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I don't recommend it, but you do you, boo. I'm just saying you now have to deal with consequences, and you don't like that. I get it. I don't like consequences either. I know some people, like, you know, they're afraid to do edgy stuff because, like, you know, it might offend somebody. And don't know, I think every comedian tries edgy stuff. It's like, it's what we do. It's like we see the world and we're like, okay, this is stupid. We gotta make fun of it because the alternative is just crying and rage. So, you know, it's like the emperor has no clothes. We want to point out, hey, this guy thinks he's hot shit, and we're like, no, dude, he's naked and his pecker looks like a Tic Tac. Okay. And like I said, I do edgy stuff. I've done a lot of edgy stuff. I like to do stuff about political stuff, so, you know, that's always divisive. Especially right now. Whew, I've done jokes about going down on women, sex robots. One of my first really, really well-received bits was about Jesus being black, which doesn't go like I think you think it probably does. It's not offensive in the way you probably think it is, although it used to end with a racist punchline that I've since dropped because it doesn't really add anything. It's just stereotypical stuff. I think I pretty much won a comedy competition once telling a joke that basically was a Holocaust oven joke. So I'm not saying I'm any better. I'm not saying I don't do edgy or potentially offensive stuff, and I'm sure I've offended people. If I've offended you, I'm sorry. I did not mean to do that. I think when you get to these situations, you have to do one of two things. You either have to look at the thing and be like, am I being offensive? Or is this someone who just wants to be offended? And, you know, that's a different topic, but we know people like that, people who are going to get offended no matter what. They just want to cause drama, but that's a whole other thing. Or is this something that is so offensive that I need to change it? And some people think, to use the old metaphor, they think their shit don't stink, and they want to think that they're just right. It's like, no, there's a difference between being edgy and being, you know, diversive or, you know, that kind of thing, versus just you being an asshole and you just want to be an asshole. Alright? But I feel like, generally speaking, I said, this cancel culture, PC culture, is just a way of letting you know that not everyone's going to find you funny. Not everyone's going to find you, you know, enjoyable or agreeable. And again, that's fine. The nice thing about the world, especially America, which is supposed to be a huge, diverse melting pot of people, is there's all these different viewpoints. And again, you're going to butt heads with people. But I don't feel like that's really going to be the death for comedy. Like I said, no matter what kind of thing you do, you'll be able to find an audience who will listen to you. So no, I would like this argument to end. Like, PC culture isn't going to change anything. News sites isn't going to change anything. You'll still find some outlet. But at the end of the day, you still have to deal with the fact that not everyone's going to like you. And with comedians in general, we're kind of, let's face it, a bit egotistical. The downside of trying to do something that makes fun of everything is it's kind of hard to, if you're the one that has to make fun of everything, you kind of have to take everything seriously, if that makes sense. Like, you have to take these serious things and find the holes in them, which admittedly does kind of wear on you from time to time. Having to deal with the shit in life and having to squeeze out, some real fucking gems, that can be a bit, exhausting. But that's why we do this kind of stuff. And like I said, keep telling your jokes. If you want to say something, fine. Just understand that eventually you might have to adapt. You might have to come up with a different viewpoint. Like I said, if I play a show, if I'm doing a show in like a little rednecky dive bar versus, like if I'm like in a little, like hippie free love kind of environment, I'm going to have to tell different jokes. I'm going to have to switch it up a little. And that kind of variety, I feel like for any kind of artist or performer, is kind of essential, depending on what your end goal is. But that's it for me. That's just my viewpoint on stuff. I just want to get that out into the ether. Anyway, my name is Harvey Starner. You've been fantastic. Y'all have a lovely day, and I will hopefully see you around.